Good morning, everyone. Scott Earhart here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Do want to thank all of you very, very much for taking time out of your busy days to join us. I think you'll find the next hour very valuable in your practice. What we're going to look at today is a 401k IRA rollover game plan. We will be joined shortly by Mr. Dave Pimper, who is a top producer with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, as well as one of our sales coaches. And he has a lot of expertise in this area as far as execution of rollovers and marketing systems to help you obtain more opportunities to work with qualified dollars. Dave, again, will join us very, very shortly, and I think you'll find what he has to say very, very valuable and very applicable in the environment we are in today. Before we get into all of that, a couple of housekeeping items that I'd like to point out. One is our phone number here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. If you have any questions about any of the information that you see today, or if there's anything that we can be doing to help you in the life or fixed annuity markets, please do not hesitate to give us a call. Our number is 800-255-5055. Our second housekeeping item is polling questions. I will launch 2 polling questions throughout the presentation today. If you would please take the time to just click yes or no on those polling questions. We do appreciate everyone's participation in those. Those polling questions help us to get an idea about what we can be doing to better work with you and your business. So we do appreciate participation in those. Final housekeeping item is questions. I know some questions will arise during the session today, and Dave does a great job of answering those while we are live and in session with the group. So please, if you do have a question while we're in session, type them into the questions box. At the end of the presentation, we will take some time to answer as many of those as we possibly can. So please do type in any questions that you may have. We'd absolutely love to answer those for you. That being said, I'm going to get into a few introductory slides before we hand it over to Mr. Pimper. And our first slide is about our Life and Annuity Academy. We hold 3 to 4 Life and Annuity Academies per year, and we will have them upcoming in 2017. As I talk about our Life and Annuity Academy, I'm going to launch our first question or polling question of the day. And what I'm going to ask is if you'd like more information on our Life and Annuity Academy. If you click yes that you'd like more information, what that is going to do is get you an email out with some more detailed information. It's not a commitment on your part to attend. What will happen is you'll get the information. You'll also be put onto our interested parties list. Our interested parties list will be the first group notified once we have dates for academies in 2017. What we do with our Life and Annuity Academy is we really want to make it a very, very worthwhile experience for you and for your business. There's a lot of road shows out there that are put on that are all product-based. That's not what we do. We want to give you tangible ideas and marketing systems that you can take home, implement in your business, and help you to increase your sales and closing ratios to make you more profitable. That being said, what kind of the framework for what we do is we'll normally fly you in on a Wednesday and fly you home on a Friday, hopefully have you home in time for dinner. What happens is we'll bring in staff from our office here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services, myself, Mark Raymakers, who's our life director, Matt Neal, our creative director, will all be there. I will go through some different concepts with annuities and utilizing those in your planning with your clients and prospects. In-depth look at income riders, how they work, what different niches are. We'll look at volatility control strategies, how they actually function, so you can better explain those to a client, understand when they should and shouldn't be used. A lot of great things that we do with annuities and how to help you better implement them in a client's retirement plan. Mark will go through a lot of great things with life insurance. He's got a lot of really, really good information. Things like utilizing single premium life for wealth transfer, overfunding of IULs, multi-generational gifting, or just some of the topics that he'll cover and how to best implement those with your clients. Matt Neal, our creative director, will go through everything that IMS Creative can do for you to help you increase your brand awareness and really increase your market share. We'll go through websites, we'll go through mailers, we'll go through newsletters, everything that we can create here at IMS for you to help you in growing your business. One of the most valuable things that I think we do in our Life and Annuity Academy is we'll bring in 3 or 4 of our sales coaches from throughout the country. Dave Pimper is normally one of those sales coaches that's there. And to be a sales coach with insurance agency marketing services, not only do you have to be able to talk the talk, but you have to be able to walk the walk as well. So all of our sales coaches are actually multiple time top producer qualifiers with IMS. These are the upper echelon of producers in our industry. And what they do is show you exactly what they do in their daily practice that makes them so successful and gives you the ability to take those ideas and those tools home with you and utilize them in your own practice. I think it's a great, great tool to be able to see what top producers do that make them so successful and give you the ability to implement those. We will also bring in staff from carriers to go through what carriers are currently offering. The one thing we do ask of any carrier representative that we bring in is that they not only bring their product information, but we don't, again, want a product show. We want them to bring the niche for that product. How does that product fit into the industry? Where do they win? How is it best utilized in the planning process? So a lot of good details from carriers there. And of course, we'll bring in our executive and ownership team as well. You will meet Mr. Charles Hiring and Mr. Steve Murray, our owners. One of the unique things about insurance agency marketing services is you will get access to the decision makers. And Steve and Charles certainly want to get to know you and get to know your business and make sure we're tailoring your experience with insurance agency marketing services so that it's as good as it can possibly be for you and we're as helpful to you as we possibly can be. With that being said, I'm going to move on from talking about our Life and Annuity Academy. So if you haven't taken the time to just click yes or no on the polling question, if you would please do so, I'd certainly appreciate everyone's participation there. Thank you, everyone, for that. Moving on, we are coming up towards the end of qualification for our Caddies and Casinos trip you do have through the end of the year. This is an exclusive trip to Insurance Agency Marketing Services in partnership with Athene Annuity. $1.25 million will get you there. 1.75 will get you and a guest. That is all Athene annuity premium. That does include their multi-year guarantee product line as well. We will be going to Las Vegas. We will be staying at the Four Seasons Mandalay Bay. We have some great golf lined up. Of course, it is Las Vegas, so we've got some really neat entertainment options, great shopping. If you like to gamble, there's a little bit of that goes on in Las Vegas. So if you'd like to know where you stand as far as qualification goes, or if you want to have a conversation about what we might be able to do to help you get over the top and get qualified for that, there is still time for that. So please, I'd love to have that conversation. We've done 3 or 4 of these trips with Athene now, and they are just absolutely fantastic. Really, really looking forward to Caddies and Casinos. New producer bonus for those of you who are new to insurance agency marketing services, or if this is your first introduction to us, you are going to be eligible for the new producer bonus. This is based on production within your first 180 days of being licensed with insurance agency marketing services, and you can cash in at any one of these 3 levels. As you can see, at each level, there's great options that range from cash perks to business building tools to personal rewards that are all available to you. If you'd like more details on the new producer bonus, or if you'd like to know where you stand as far as qualifications, we can certainly get that information. Just reach out to me to let me know. We can get you that info. Creative services. I mentioned Matt Neal when we were talking about the Life and Annuity Academy, and I can't hype is a bad word, but I can't talk enough about what the IMS creative team can do for you and for your business. And to be honest with you, we can do it all here in-house. What that means for you is a cost savings without giving up any of the quality that you're accustomed to from your personal or the graphic design shop that you're using or the PR firm that you're using. Matt and his team can do everything from basic marketing, building you a logo, embedding that logo into different marketing material for you. They can help you with online marketing as far as getting your website traffic up, getting newsletter services for you. They can also help you even further in that with getting your searchability up. SEO, search engine optimization. They have some real expertise in maximizing that. And of course, mass marketing, we can help with that as well. Radio, television, mailing. We can do all of that for you in-house, or we can assist you in helping you implement that. It does look like Mr. Pimper has jumped on. I just want to do a quick sound check. Dave, can you hear us? Dave?
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we could hear you, and you've got us. I'm almost done with introductory slides, and I'll hand it right over to you if that's okay, sir.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. I believe this is my last slide before I do hand it over to Dave. And what I want to talk about on this slide just quickly is putting dollars back into your pocket. And I'm going to start on the right-hand side with marketing reimbursement. Rough numbers on our marketing reimbursement are for every $100,000 in indexed annuity premium you place with IMS, we're going to put $200 into your marketing reimbursement account. Now, we do consider this to be your money. So what that means is we're not going to put very many restrictions on this account. We're going to let you grow it as large as you would like to grow for as long as you want to grow it. We're not going to tell you you have to cash it out quarterly, annually, anything like that. We're not going to cap you at a certain percentage of premium written. That is your money to grow it as you would like. Now, when I say very few restrictions, really what that means is we're not going to tell you the vendors that you have to use. If you have a vendor out there that's worked for you in the past, you're comfortable with working for, we want to encourage that relationship to continue. So we are just simply going to ask that you submit a receipt to us. Hopefully we'll get a check cut to you the same day and mailed out to help you offset that expense. We think it's a great way for us to partner with you in growing your business. If you'd like to know how much money you have in your marketing reimbursement account or have a more detailed conversation on how it works, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Absolutely love to have that conversation with you. On the left-hand side of our screen is the referred producer program. Our business here on the wholesale side of the industry is eerily similar to yours out there in the field, and one of the best leads that we're ever going to get is a referral from one of our valued clients or you, the valued producer. So we want to make it worth your while to refer individuals to us. When you refer a producer over to us and they choose to license with any of the carriers that Insurance Agency Marketing Services offers, we're going to send you a check for $50 just to say thank you for the referral and let you know we do value it. Now, where the real money comes in is as your referral writes business, you will receive a 20 basis point override. Steve and Charles sign these checks at least quarterly, and I can tell you that they actually do enjoy signing those checks because that means you entrusted us with a referral, and that really does mean a great deal to us. If there's anyone that you work with out there that you think could benefit from doing business with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, please feel free to type their name and any contact information you have on them into the questions box. I'll do the best I can to follow up with them and get them recruited over to IMS and get you on your way to earning some referred producer dollars. That being said, Dave, that brings me to the end of the introductory slide, so I'm going to give you control of the presentation if you're ready. Dave,
Okay, good. Can you hear me, Scott? I'm sorry about that. Can you hear
not a
me?
problem. I can hear you, and you should have control now.
Okay, real good. So let me see if I can
And actually, I did it
see the
wrong. Hold
screen.
on 1 second. There.
Okay.
Now you should have control.
Okay, real good. Okay, let's see if I do. My name is Dave Pimper, and I'm with Lazarus Coaching. So I am a producer just like you are since the year of 1981 in the financial service arena, and I also do coaching with advisors, all with IAMS. So I'm proprietary with IAMS. I'm an outside. I'm not internally with IAMS. I'm a third party, but run all my business through IAMS, and I also do all my coaching through IAMS. And one of the mainstays that I do with people from a coaching standpoint is production. So it's either from the sales presentation side, the presentation, the asking questions, the trial closes, handling objections, or from the lead generation side, which that really revolves a lot of it around the seminar business. Have done over 420 seminars, so I've done a lot of seminars, just a lot of seminars, since the middle of the 1980s. So what we're going to talk today specifically is around the 401k IRA rollover seminar. So let's talk, and if you got questions, certainly bring those on up. Scott will throw out a slide about halfway through, or maybe 60% through, about if you'd like to get more information specifically on this seminar system that's offered through Lazarus Coaching and IAMS, proprietary to us, then certainly Mark, yes, and Craig or Amy will give you a call, set up a good time, speak with me for 25 minutes, and we can discuss your specifics there. But when it comes to the 401k IRA rollover marketplace, let's take a look and see how much you really know. So here's a quiz for you of a couple, 3 or 4 questions. You make your initial Roth IRA contribution for the 2015 tax year. You make it on April 15th of 2016. Okay, that's the last date you can make it. How many years do you have to wait to withdraw all of your money out tax-free, earnings and growth? Most everyone's going to say 5 years because that's how long your contribution needs to stay in. But interestingly enough, whenever you put into a Roth for an individual Roth IRA, it always dates back to 1/1 of the year before. So here's 3 years, 8.5 months. Interesting. What type of trust do you have to establish for your IRA when your intent is to make sure your designated or your human beneficiary within that trust are able to stretch out the tax deferral for their lifetimes? What type of trust? So this is an inherited IRA. Any idea? Has to be a see-through trust or a look-through trust. It looks through the trust to the heartbeat beneficiaries. It's a type of trust is a conduit trust, okay? What type of trust do you have to establish for your non-IRA with an annuity? So now we're not talking about IRAs, but just a regular annuity with the beneficiary of the trust, when your intent is to make sure that your designated human beneficiaries within the trust are able to stretch out. So not an IRA, but just conventional non-qualified money. What type of trust do you need? Can't do it. A 5-year rule is the only rule that really can apply to that. Interesting. And lastly, what does the designation of per stirpes mean pertaining to your beneficiaries? Per stirpes. There's actually 2. There's per capita and per stirpes. Per capita means per head. Per stirpes is a Latin phrase meaning by the bloodline or by root, by the branch. So it goes down through the bloodline. If there's a death, say, of your son and he's got kids, the money won't go all to the other sibling. It'll go down through the bloodline to the children. Most people like that. Yeah, so what happens is, most people think that they've got a lot of background when it comes to IRA rollovers and 401k rollovers, but what happens is that there's normally a lot of information that people don't know from producers. So we're going to go, and I got ahead of myself there a little bit, sorry. So here's what happens is, those aren't all the slides that are attending today, but it's probably half of the slides. And we talk about a lot of different subjects. So the main thrust is the potential rollover options for your 401k, which is for profit, 403b not for profit, and 457 is actually deferred comp with government plans. They're triplets, twin brothers and sisters here. So what are your options when you roll over? Well, you could do nothing, just leave it there. As long as it's over $5,000, no problem, usually. You can roll over to a new company retirement plan, as long as they allow you to do that, which most do. You could take a lump sum distribution to pay the taxes on it, which there's really only one reason that might be a good reason to do that. You can convert to a Roth IRA, or you can roll over and transfer to a traditional IRA. Now, of this, there's no doubt that how we make our money normally is from the fifth one, roll over, transfer, traditional IRA. Now, does the Department of Labor law, which has a possibility of getting sidelined, or even a new law put in its place because of Donald Trump really putting the moratorium on regulations, but it's far enough down the pike, you might as well just count on it. So if you're in a commission standpoint, which most people showing annuities are, you'll need a best interest contract exemption. And if you want more information, I really have I've done a lot of reading, a lot of background, read all the suits, how it's going to affect your business, the type of licenses. If you've got questions there, certainly mark yes, and I'll be more than happy to give you my insight there of how to progress and proceed with your business, because there's no doubt it's not stopping, but it is changing some. The rules, it's a bit of a moving target right now, but the rules are going to be changing, pretty much no doubt about it. Okay, so one of the reasons you ask, why work retirement plans, or why mail out to people that are pre-retired or just retired? It's where the money is. Like Willie Sutton with trains. He was the train robber, said, why do you rob trains? That's where the money is. There's a large amount of money in this segment, and we can really help them with the expertise that we're giving, okay? So if there's any questions, bring them on up. So then I start talking. I'm not going to go through all of this just like I do a workshop, but you could do nothing. Just stay there, and your investment will stay with the existing company. Why would you want to leave it with your company? So one of the reasons, though, is that you may not know about is the 55 age rule. So if you work for the company and you have a triggering event, you were fired, you were let go, you quit, you retired, but you no longer work there, with that company's 401k plan, not others, but with that company, you can take out free withdrawals with no 10% penalty. How nice is that? At the age of 55. So from 55 to 59 and a half, those 4.5 years, you might want to start taking income out. Well, if you roll it into an IRA, you got a 10% penalty. So it's certainly, I've had it happen numerous times. Let's say, and I'm making the numbers up, but hypothetically, let's say there's $300,000 that's within a 401 play from IBM, and they're retiring early from IBM at 55. Well, let's say that they come to me and say, hey, we'd like to get some different options, and I say, do you think that you'll need money or income before 59 and a half? And they said, yeah, we off of this money, we need $300 a month. Well, if you roll it all into an IRA, that $300 will have a 10% penalty. Every single one will have will have a $30 penalty. Well, if you keep it in that 401k or at least enough money to take that $300 from, yeah, you'll go on in and you won't have any kind of penalty whatsoever. So what you can do here is you look over 4.5 years, that's about $16,000 worth of income coming on out. You could leave that just strictly in a money market account or a more conservative option. Now, if you want to take a lot of risk with it in the volatile times, but there they take out their 16,000, maybe keep 20,000 out, and you roll all the rest of the monies over. Yeah. So that's a reason why. Other considerations: ERISA creditor protection under the federal law. Yeah. The ERISA Act, which is where the original Fiduciary Act came about. Yeah, the 401k has a higher threshold for protection than an IRA does in many states. Doesn't make much difference in the state of Nebraska where I'm talking from, but in some states it does. It could be a reason for a bankruptcy or a suit to keep it there. Familiarity with choices. You got to look at fees. There could be higher or could be lower fees within your retirement plan at work, and this may not be the best choice, but it's an easier choice. Just do nothing. Just leave it there. Okay? So when I'm going through this, that is kind of what I'm showing. That's basically what I'm showing, is that you've got options. And what the regulators, insurance and or with securities regulators like to see is that you give the benefits on both sides. Here, if you retire, here's the good points, here's the bad points, here's the points to consider. And that's what this workshop does. It's an educational. Now, it is a dinner workshop. I think it's hard to get enough people there without having a dinner. Many people come really just for the dinner but end up doing business with you. Just did business 67,000. He was with the mutual fund store. That has just changed names, but mutual fund store for 19 years. And now he's concerned about the market, and he wanted some absolute guarantees. Yeah, beautiful. And I had another gal, 232,000. She's 70 years of age. She's been with the same broker since she's retired for 8 years. Basically, never calls her, and she gets lots of invitations. But this caught her eye. Both of those were on the 401k IRA rollover workshop. Both of those became clients. And so from a workshop like this, what we try to do is, if we can go in and mail out 5,000, we use some social media. So that's the cost. You got $3,300. So this is not for the faint of heart. 3,200 or 3,300 for the actual mailing. Hopefully it'll get us 35 to 45 people at the workshop. And then from there, what happens is that out of those 26, 27 buying units, hopefully we can get appointments with, I always say, if we can get appointments with 10, I'm very, very happy with that. Okay? If any questions, certainly bring them on up, and then we'll talk about them. So you can roll over retirement funds to a new company retirement plan. And then we go through, I'm not going to go through every single one of those slides, but you can kind of see some of the very same things as keeping it with your own plan. How about a lump sum distribution? Well, what we talk about here is a little bit of a conventional lump sum distribution called net unrealized appreciation. So remember, if you take money into cash out and conventionally out of your 401k, 403b, 401, 457, the government's going to take their 20% in taxes right away. If 100,000 comes out, you're only going to get 80. 20 goes into taxes. They don't believe that we're responsible enough that we're going to pay taxes. Okay? So they take it out automatically. But with net unrealized appreciation, what happens is that, and this is just, I'll do this pretty quickly. Say that's at IBM again. Let's say they got 300,000 in your 401k, 100,000 of it is in appreciated IBM stock, 100,000. All right? That 100,000 has got a cost basis of 20,000 because this fella in this example, hypothetical example, has been putting money in, say, for the last 20, 25, 30 years. So his cost basis is 20,000. The value today is 100,000. So what happens is with net unrealized appreciation, you have to take out all of your money within the end of the year, okay? When the year that you start taking money out, there's two buckets. There's the 200,000 that's not in stock. So say we roll that over and put that into a fixed indexed annuity, or half in fixed index and half in managed money, okay? If your securities advisory licensed. The 100,000, let's say that you're going to go in and put into a, say, fixed indexed annuity. That 100,000, what happens is you're taking it out and putting it into a regular non-qualified account. But if it was a normal taking it out of a 401k, all of it would be taxed as ordinary income. Here, only the cost basis is taxed as ordinary income, just the 20,000. The 80,000 is taxed as a tax preference item as a long-term capital gain. And believe me, the higher the income bracket is, or the more you've got in that single stock, the bigger deal it is. Now, you might look at that and say, gosh, we're not even, we can't even work with that, say that 100,000. We can't really even work with that. Now, you could sell it and put it into whatever investment, or you could leave it right there. You don't have to sell. But that's where taking it all out and getting a tax preference on any of the amount that's above the cost basis, in this case 80,000, taxed as long-term capital gain versus ordinary, could make a lot of difference in the income that you pay now or down the road, called net unrealized appreciation. I have 4 or 5 slides like this. They're just quotes by Henry Heine. Experience is a good school, but the fees are high. And I basically say, don't make a mistake with your rollovers, or it could be extremely expensive for you. We talk about Roth IRAs, the 5-year hold rule, which really could be as short as 3 years, 8.5 months, okay? But the deductibility, RMDs, no RMDs, etc. Then we talk about conversions, Roth conversions, how to convert from a conventional over to a Roth, and what are the pluses and negatives on that. What happens if you say, hey, oops, I want to change my mind. I knew how much taxes I was going to pay, but now that I have to really pay it, it's a lot of money. Yeah, you can, as long as you do it by October the 15th of the next year, that's the deadline, you can go back and redo it like it never happened. What about, and again, I'm just saying this now, what happens if you come across, it's in, say it's an oil stock, and oil was extremely high a year ago, and now it's extremely low. Say it's an oil mutual fund. Yeah. Say you moved 50,000 and now it's worth 30,000. Well, you're going to do the oops rule. You're going to recharacterize it, act like it never happened, and as long as you wait 30 days or the first day of the next year, whichever is later, then you can redo it, and of course now you'd only be converting 30,000, not 50,000, because the market has dropped. That would be a good reason to go in and do a recharacterization. Now, I will say this, a lot of people don't understand Roths or Roth conversions or some things we're going to talk about. When I'm coaching you, and I do that over a 5-week time period, it takes about 45 minutes each session. That's with myself. I give you lots of articles, lots of attachments at the end of every time that we're coaching that you'll print off and read and highlight. There's a book that's a very good book that I like, one of the best ones on the marketplace, that I have you order. It'll cost you $10, paperback, used. Yeah. But you're really going to get the feeling, and of course you can call me and ask me a question anytime that you want to, okay? How do you move your 401k to an IRA? Yeah, so this is where the big money for us is, okay? To work with investments, indirect rollover, indirect rollovers. And of course we prefer the direct rollovers, not the indirect, where the check is made out directly to you, 60-day holding period. If it's made out to you, the government automatically takes 20% out. If you want to make whole on your IRA, you got to put your 20% back in. Only one rollover per 12-month time period. for all of your IRAs, not just for that IRA. Lots of negative bells and whistles on indirect rollovers. Direct rollovers, yeah, no 20% rule, checks not made out to you, transfers directly, checks mailed directly, check could be mailed to you, made out to the custodian, and then you'll mail it directly. Yeah, all of those work. Many direct rollovers or transfers per year as you want to do. Yeah. Now, the IRA rollover transfer, so you can do it with existing IRAs, or it could be a new IRA from like a 401k and it goes into a new IRA. Okay? But why? And then we talk about, again, far fewer rules with IRAs than company retirement plans. A lot of people want to consolidate or simplify, when they retire. Yeah, you can I'm not going to go through all the information on the slides, but you kind of get information. Also, every slide has language. Okay, so there's, like we're talking about settlement beneficiary options here. We talk about the language on each one of those. What's the reason to do it? What's the reason not? How it works. I've got all the money I'll ever need if I die by 4 o'clock. Henny Youngman. He's the one that said, "Take my wife, please." Yeah, comedian. Was big back in the 50s and 60s. Okay. Any questions? Certainly type them in or bring them up, and I'll answer those for you. It talks about beneficiaries and stretching those, or inherited IRAs. And then with inherited, there's something called a separate account rule where you split up the IRA so the younger child doesn't have the same older age of life expectancy as the older child. Naming the estate or naming the will, what's the pluses and negatives of that, how to title your inherited IRA. Now, there's going to be people on the line right now that maybe have never done an inherited IRA, but it's very important of how you specifically state the ownership of that, from John Doe to John Doe Jr., the son, okay? So, you have to start taking required minimum distributions by December the 31st of the next year, the year after the original owner's death. And when you figure out the RMD, it's not figured up in the same way that regular RMDs are figured up for life expectancy. So there's a lot to kind of learn when you're going through this workshop. One of the things, and I heard a fellow that's successful right now doing this workshop, is that it isn't just that the only thing about the money. He said it made him a better holistic qualified registered rep, qualified markets rep, because he knows a lot more now than when he did before. And a lot of that was from the coaching, from the books he read, just working with people. He's called me many times for questions. But this is that per capita versus per stirpes on beneficiaries and how that works, per head versus per bloodline. We talk about, as you can see, your transfer on deaths. Those are non-qualified accounts that have beneficiaries mainly at the bank. It really does away with, like, let's say a widowed mom putting her son on as joint beneficiary, joint ownership. Now they can just be a transfer on death. It transfers right through probate, so it doesn't go through probate, and there's no waiting time. There's no cost of the lawyer. As far as the will, it just goes directly across. So we normally do that all the time in that situation. RMDs we talk about. Now, many of those slides have 2 or 3 extra slides with those. When we talk about RMDs, we talk about QLEX, Qualified Longevity Annuity Contracts. It says, I'm proud to be paying taxes in the U.S. The only thing is I could be just as proud for half the money. Arthur Godfrey. So in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, normally if you're 59 and a half and your 401k or 403b 457 has it available. 457s normally don't, but the 401k, 403b many times do, that you can take monies out at 59 and a half, invest it elsewhere in a rollover IRA, and still work for the company. There does not have to be, you can still be working for the company. Now, they call that age the triggering event. Not that you've left it, but you're still there. And wants to know the rules. What are the specific rules talking about in service with our non-hardship withdrawal plans. Then we talk a little bit about, now if you don't know Social Security at all, you could drop this slide, but it's just remember Social Security, if you take it early, there's less money coming in. If you go longer than your full retirement age, if you're born from 43 to 54, it's age 66, then it will grows 8% a year. But could it be worthwhile to let your Social Security grow at a guaranteed 8% and take monies from your current investments? Yes, it very well could be. And then it talks about how to complement your IRA with Social Security. Okay? So there's a lot to think about. And so here's my final slides. A lot to think about. No obligation consultation. Everybody take out their yellow sheet. Yes, I want a consultation. No, I don't. If you mark yes, we've got dates and times over the next 2 weeks. Please mark a date and mark a time. Please be a little flexible when Craig calls you tomorrow, because sometimes we will overlap times. So if you're flexible if you can, but put down the time that fits you the best. Also, put down a telephone number that Craig can get a hold of the person during the daytime. And please take his call. I say, please take his call, because we're very busy. I know everybody's busy. So please call us right back if you don't take the call right away. And if you mark yes, then we're looking forward to sitting down and giving you some hopefully good information. And then I go into the next slide. Here's my promise. And I say my first promise is I promise that you won't need your checkbook. Leave it at home. This is not a sales presentation. This is telling you information about your specifics, whether you sign up for another workshop or another appointment or not. Well, we will uncover one financial problem and give you the answer how to achieve success over that roadblock. And then I start going in, I say, what are the best rollover options for my company retirement plan? If you're asking that, then maybe you need to mark yes to come into an appointment. Could a Roth conversion benefit me? Not for everybody, but it's like Cinderella. If the slipper fits, it can be perfect. You might want to mark yes. How do I complement Social Securities? Mark yes. Could I benefit? Investment choices benefit me. Beneficiaries, think about inherited. How important is that? In a second opinion, my wife says that the second opinion might be the very best opinion. Now I take more time with that, and so I'm really kind of getting them. Then I start talking about procrastination. So what happens is that, and I didn't put the procrastination slide in there, but it says procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Well, tomorrow never comes. Don't let that happen to you. And then what I do on the last slide with a little bit of emotion, I basically say to everybody who George Foreman is. Well, he's the boxing champion, went like 3 different times, made a ton of money in boxing, but where did he make the most boxing? Where did he make the most money from in his lifetime? And someone will say the George Foreman Grill, and I'll say you're exactly right. I'll say, any idea how much they paid him up front to use his name, not counting all the overrides in trails he makes from every one that sold? $139 million he got paid. And so then I say, unless your name is on a grill and being sold, you probably need to mark yes and come in and see me. And then everybody laughs. And that's I like to end with the kind of people laughing. And so it's the presentation really has a lot, not just 401k IRA rollovers, but there's Roth and Roth conversions, there's Roth characterizations, there's in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, there's beneficiaries, there's inherited IRAs, there's QLACs, qualified longevity annuity contracts. It has a lot of information all around the retirement marketplace. And what happens when people come to a workshop like this, what you hope happens is they look at you and say, gosh, I thought I knew quite a bit about this, but maybe I do need help from this expert. And there's no doubt, I don't care how much you know about the retirement marketplace, once you coach and you go through the 5 weeks, you will certainly find out more things about that marketplace than you knew right now. Okay? Scott, if you could put up the questionnaire, and then you know what? So this is just a yes or no. Yes, I want more information from Dave about 401k IRA rollover seminar marketing, or no, I don't. If you mark no, now you're not going to hear from us. If you mark yes, Craig or Amy's going to call you, and we're going to find out a good time for about a half an hour, and then I'll answer any questions you have. But if you don't have enough leads, you don't have enough qualified prospects that you're talking to, you're not maximizing or coming close to maximizing your potential. That's the one thing that consistent seminar marketing, or marketing in general, basically, find something that works. But seminars, you can think of anything you want to think about, but seminars, I've been giving seminars for over 30 years, and they've been successful. And they can be successful for you. And Scott, I'll let you take it from there.
Fantastic, Dave. Thank you so much for sharing your time with the group and for sharing your expertise. I've worked with Dave for about 6 years now, and this is an area where Dave definitely is an expert, and his sales reflect that. Dave, just to put a little context into why this might be such a timely topic and such a good marketing tool. What percentage of dollars that you work with overall in your business are qualified dollars versus non-qualified dollars?
Because of the group I'm mailing to, I would think in the industry it might be 60-40, 65-35. For me, it's about 70-30. So I work with about 70% qualified money and 30% non-qualified.
Absolutely. That's a lot of dollars there to be worked with, and Dave does a great job in helping producers learn how to maximize that potential. Dave, you ready for a couple questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. First question that came in from what sounds like a pretty experienced producer. Many 401ks that I've rolled will not allow for a partial rollover. How do you leave the 4 years of money in it and roll over the rest? Referencing to something you mentioned in slide 5.
Yeah, that's interesting because I have not ran across that. And I don't know if it's like he got 2 in a row and then he thinks, boy, almost everything is like that. But if that was the case and they said it has to be all or it has to be none, what would happen is that if that income is extremely important to the person and they have to be taking that on out, no, then you know what? Then you're not going to work at the 401k because it's that big a deal to the client. You got to have the client's best interest at heart. But I would say I would talk to the administrator. It has to be written up in the kind of the blueprint of the document of the 401k, kind of the blueprint of the 401k. I don't think that's the norm personally. I mean, you might have got 1 or 2 right in a row, but unless you've got a company that you're next to, Honeywell or something, that's what they do. And a lot of your people are coming there. But the person, most people don't need an income. In most people don't need an income from that, because if they're 55 or they're 50, most people aren't retiring yet. They're still working. They don't need an income. But if that would come on up, no, I think you're in a rock and a hard place, and to have the fiduciary best standard of that person, you'd want to leave it at the 401k then.
Absolutely. Thank you for your response there, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Next question, can an inherited IRA be converted into a Roth IRA?
Good question. So you've got an inherited IRA, and you're taking monies out, and the person wants to know, could you take that inherited and turning it into a Roth? So what happens when you turn it into a Roth, you've got to go in and you've got to take it out and bring it back in. You know what? I don't know the answer to that. That's a very, very good question. I'm going to find out. If you just, Scott, just text me who asked that question. I'm going to say no, you can't. I think it goes out of out of that bubble to inherit. I don't think you can do that, but I don't know. So I'm going to find out, and then I will text back, or email back to the person if he didn't mark yes for this, and I'll get that answer for him.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I get you that information.
Okay. All
right. Can individuals under 59 and a half move any of their 401k or 403b to an IRA?
Well, as long as it's as long as it's pre-tax, there could be after-tax money in there. And of course, that couldn't be, but as long as it was qualified pre-tax money, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm going to take the vast majority of questions that I've had come in here, Dave, and wrap them up into one ball. And there's not an answer here, but I'd sure love to
Yeah.
hear your commentary on it. Department of Labor, Trump election. What are we thinking? What are you hearing? Any commentary you'd like to add on that?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
The trajectory of the Department of Labor ruling with
Yeah.
the Trump election. What are you hearing is going to happen? What are you thinking? Any commentary you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's a moving target, but there's definitely that has a better chance than the lawsuits that are trying to stop it. Not that that couldn't put couldn't stop it. I mean, or at least halt it. But Trump has gone in and said, he's going to go in and put on a moratorium on a lot of the heightened regulation that has been under the Obama administration. And so that means a moratorium just means they're going to stop it, look at it, and then what's going to happen. Now, I will say this, the DOL, it's not nearly as important to him as getting his cabinet members. It's not anywhere close of his getting his staff, not anywhere close to building the wall or immigration, not even close to the Dodd-Frank Act, not even close to Obamacare. I'm just saying it's down the list of ways. Now, to us, it's the most important thing because we're in the business. It's, whose ox is being gored, and it's our ox. But if you're not in this industry, most people have never even heard of the Department of Labor fiduciary rule. So I would say it's so far along right now, and I can certainly talk to people that've got more want to get down in gritty with more information on it, because I certainly do have that background to at least give my opinion. But what happens is it's a rule, it's not a law. It would have to have another rule on top of it, or they could just quit funding it and it could die out if after years of not funding. But I mean, companies like Merrill Lynch, companies like Morgan, like I think it's Morgan Stanley. I mean, there's big companies that have already gone in, and they've got millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars put into DOL back office. I think there's going to be a halt to it. After all that, a halt to it. I think they're going to delay it, but I know that there's enough people in the Democratic Senate to go on in and to filibuster that, or Congress, but filibuster that. So I would say it's still a tough road, but it has more light at the end of the tunnel than it once did.
I would completely agree with that statement. Thank you for the commentary on that. A couple of late questions have come in. On an inherited IRA, Dave, does the 5-year rule for withdrawals apply?
No, because an inherited IRA, when you inherit an IRA, you're basically taking it virtually over your life expectancy. So if you've got a grandchild, you're 85, you die, you got your grandchild is, say it's $100,000 IRA, and they've got 25% of it. They get 25,000. That grandchild does have to take RMDs out, but it starts at their life expectancy. So let's just say that what happens is maybe you only have to take out 0.5% the first year, and then 0.65% the next year, and then 0.7 the next year. No, they can take that out for their whole life. They may have to go 20, 25 years until it gets to 2%. 2.5%. So they're able to, that's why it's inherited, in stretching that out for as long as they can. That's what an inherited or stretch IRA does. So the 5-year rule does not come into play whatsoever, because they have to take out a minimum amount of distribution at least once a year. Other than that, they let the rest of it grow and grow tax deferred.
Absolutely. And then final question. This is going to go to the overall structure of Lazarus coaching more than
Yep.
anything else, I believe. Dave, will you do joint work if we have a prospect and need your expertise? How does that relationship work between the advisor and you at Lazarus Coaching?
Now, once you coach with me, and if you're coaching, then you are off of this program, you are doing a seminar. So I don't coach just the information alone because we want leads. That's just the, if you great information does not bring you in business. I mean, otherwise Einstein would be the greatest broker, but no, he's not. Or it'd be the engineer is the greatest agent or advisor, but that's not the case. You have to be in front of leads to be able to professionally sell them. And so what happens is, yeah, as long as you went through the program, and the cost, I'll just let you know real quick, so reasonable. I charge $150 per 45-minute session. So that's $750 for 5 sessions. IAMS has a scholarship as long as you qualify, meaning you're going to write some of that business course through IAMS. But what happens is, in contracting, but what happens is that IAMS pays for everything but $195 of that cost. So they cut me a check, IAMS, the FMO, who you're talking to right now, with Scott being one of the managers there, a check for $555, and then you, the coach, the person being coached, the coachee, they pay me $195. So the coaching is probably one of the least expensive parts of the entire program. And so what happens is that if you've got, once you coach with me, you can call me, you can be in an appointment. I've had Mike down from Florida, he's called me several times when he's been in appointments and he asked me questions or they asked me questions. You absolutely can use me that way.
Good, good. The gentleman that Dave is referring to, Mike from Florida, is another one of our top producers, and I work with Mike quite a bit. And Mike would give some of the strongest testimony that Dave's services and Lazarus coaching services are absolutely valuable and have truly helped him to uh, take his business to the next goal. I couldn't encourage you all enough that are on this presentation. If Dave showed you anything or said anything that resonated with you at all to pique your interest, click yes. Set up that no obligation call with Dave just to have a conversation about how this works, and maybe coaching would be right for you, and maybe the system could be the tool that takes your business to that next level. It certainly has for many, many others. That being said, that's going to bring us to the end of our presentation. Dave, I want to thank you for your time. I know it's a
Oh, you bet.
busy time up there in Fremont, so we really appreciate it. Any parting words for the group, sir?
No, I tell you, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. And just remember this, no matter how good of a salesperson you are, it means nothing unless you get in front of qualified prospects. No doubt about it. And what a system like this does, it doesn't guarantee you those prospects, but it puts you on a success track. If you're consistent with seminar marketing, someone helping you staying kind of out of the the landmines of seminar marketing. Yeah, and that's what I can do. So hopefully I can hear from you. Hopefully you marked yes, and I'm looking forward to after Thanksgiving, to talking with each and every one of you. And I appreciate your time today.
Hey, thank you again so much, Dave. We appreciate you and all that you do for our producers and for IAMS. And to everyone that took an hour out of your busy day, we do appreciate you all very, very much. We know an hour with us is an hour where you're not out prospecting and selling, so we do greatly appreciate it. Go out and have a great sales day, everyone, and we look forward to speaking with you all very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great one. Bye-bye.